Hello and welcome to the CYF course, another teaching on children, youth and families. And this one is the first one of a series of 4 on healthy attachment, on the importance of attachment, and as you will see later, what we can do when children are not attached. But this one is about the importance of healthy attachment. Maybe you have heard about attachment before. Maybe this is new for you and you're wondering, what is attachment? What do we mean when we say attachment? And all of us, we are somehow or other attached to other people. Attachment is a deep and enduring connection which is established between a child and caregiver in the first years of life. Attachment really influences every component of the human condition. It influences our mind, it influences our body, it very much influences our emotions, and because of that also our relationships and our values. So a healthy attached person, if a person is attached healthily or not, is really something that is decided in the first few years of a child's life. And now you might wonder, how does it happen? And also, what can I do for a child to be healthily attached? There are a few factors in the child's life that make secure attachment possible. If you touch your child, we all experience touch. Touch is one of our senses, and it's actually the one that we feel all over. So healthy, good touch helps for a child to make attachment possible. Eye contact, to look a child in the eye, shows you're close to the child. You're telling the child, I'm there, I'm with you, I see you. And of course, if you look at the child, you will smile at the child, and with that you show joy, you show love, you show pleasure. If you talk with the child, if you sing to and later with the child will grow closer to you. But also movements. If you play with a child, if you're rocking a child in your arms, if you're making finger games with your child, it helps to form secure attachment. And of course, last but not least, is if you meet all of a child's needs, like giving him the food he needs, the warmth, the cleanliness a child needs. All of that in the early stages help for a child to feel attached to his parents. Now, as you can see on the picture, there are cycles in the child's life, and that is the first year cycle. The first year cycle, as it says, is something that is happening really in the first year of a child's life. Now, if you think of a little baby, newborn, helpless, lying in his crib, unable to do anything except crying. If this little baby has a need, if this little baby feels hungry, or if this little baby feels cold, has a stomach pain, or just feels lonely, that baby will cry. And a mother will hear the cry, will go and meet the child's needs. So the child who feels a need takes action, the only action the little child can take. It cries. Then there will be a reaction from the mother or the father. If I say mother, the father is always included, because most needs can also be met by the father. So there is a reaction. The child is fed. The child is maybe cleaned. The child is carried around by his parents, and the child is satisfied. It feels good. The child is thankful. My parents came to answer my needs. I can trust my parents. They know my needs. So you can see how this cycle is going around on the picture. But of course, we all know a child doesn't have only one need a day, but many needs every day throughout the weeks and the month when it's really small and not able to do anything else than cry to make the parents aware that it has a need. But if the parents respond to the needs of the child, there is trust built into that child. There is faith building in that child. That child will know my parents are good. I can trust them. So what is happening? There is a first building block in the life of the child. And this first building block of basic trust is helping the child to not only trust his parents, be comfortable with his parents, but as the child grows older, it will also learn to trust other people. This basic trust is like a very solid bridge in the life of the child, where the child knows this bridge is strong and I can cross it, meeting other people. I can trust people are good. I can go to them. I can trust them. The child also learns something else. It learns cause and effect thinking, which is very important. If we don't have cause and effect thinking, we live dangerous lives, because if you're not aware that if you just run into a road without looking, a car could hit you, that's very dangerous. But if you know a cause can have an effect, if I run into the road, I'll be hit by a car, I look first. So this is not happening. So with this need, taking action, and then experiencing the reaction from the parents, the children learn that there is a cause and there is an effect to it. So the first year of a child's life, the child learns to trust people. Basic trust is built into a child's life. But a child grows. A little baby doesn't stay a little baby who has no other means to call for attention than to cry. We all know they learn to sit, they learn to walk and talk. They learn to get attention from people through other ways and means than just to cry, and they learn to express themselves. And now it's not just needs they have. If you think of toddlers, you know, the tantrum throwing toddlers, now they have wants. Some wants are, I want this, or no, I don't want. Mommy says, it's time for you to go and sleep. No, I don't want to sleep now. Or it's time for lunch, but your little one wants chocolate, something sweet, instead of lunch. I want. But as a good mother, you are probably not going to say, it's okay. Yeah, you can have chocolate while we are eating the vegetables. You might say, no, now is not the time for chocolate. because we're going to have lunch. But after lunch, you can have a bit of chocolate. You can have a little sweet. So it's a bit frustrating to have to wait, but it's not a complete no. Other times you might have to say a complete no. So it's appropriate frustration, which sometimes is not now, later. Sometimes is no, this is not possible. The little child, learns to accept the no. The child learns to handle the frustration. I think we all know that life can be frustrating, also for adults. We don't always get everything we want for different reasons. But if we have learned to accept frustration when we were little, even as adults, we can handle frustration much, much better. So in this second year of life, third year of life, the child who has many wants learns that not all the wants can be met, that sometimes the parents say no. Why? Because they know better. The child is tired, needs to sleep. Of course, the child would rather like to play, but mommy knows my little one is really, really tired and needs to go to bed. No, you can play tomorrow. Now it's time to go and sleep. The child learns to accept it, learns to handle the frustration, realizes, oh, my mommy and I, my daddy and I, sometimes we disagree. And the child learns that's okay. It learns we are different people. Little children who are so dependent from their parents, they don't see that they are different from their parents. But now they're realizing I'm actually my own little personality. So they're growing in autonomy. They're growing in independence. They're becoming their own little personalities. And that's really what we want, because only children who learn that there are their own little personalities also will be able to make good decisions, who are not dependent on others. Also, little children who realize my parents are able to stand up to me. They're able to say, no, this is not appropriate right now. No, you cannot have that right now. These children are realizing my parents are strong. And remember, we're talking about 2 and 3-year-olds. They need strong parents. It's dangerous out there with all these big adults. So you need some big adults who are your protectors. Parents who can say no to the children. Parents who know what is good for their children. They are the protectors of their children. And the children know that. They realize that parents protect me. They say no because they love me. And of course, like I said, it has to be appropriate. It's not like, stop it now. Don't always do that. It's, no, you cannot have it, but it's okay, mommy still loves you. So, children have a second building block here, the building block of learning to be autonomous, their own little personalities. And also, to learn to handle frustration will also help them to not fall into drug addiction later. If I face a frustration and I've learned to handle it, I will handle it. If I have not learned to handle it, why not get drunk? Why not do something to forget my frustration? So it really helps children in this sense too. Children who are like that, securely attached, they feel about themselves that they are good, that they are wanted, that they are competent and lovable. You can see that on the list. They know that their caregivers are responsive to their needs. They know that their caregivers are sensitive. They know their caregivers really care, and most important, they know they can trust their caregivers, because that is something that has been established in the first year of life. I can trust, and later I can trust other people too. And if I can trust, if I can go out and trust people, the world is a great place. And it's worth living in a world that is great, where people are friendly, where I can trust, where I feel good about myself, where I know that I have been wanted, that I have been welcomed to this world. So I hope you understand why attachment is so important, because it's really this building block in our life. Without it, that life is made much, much more difficult. When we look at these two cycles, the first and the second one, there is also a biblical perspective about it. And the first year cycle, where it's all about meeting the needs, it's all about establishing the trust. When we look at God in that ways, God tells us that He's a mother and a father to us. God also tells us that His love to us is unconditional. He is not loving us if we do. He loves us because we are. And in order for us to understand that, He sent Jesus, who came to show us that love. In Joshua 1:5, we read that like He promised to Joshua that I will be with you always, that for us too, we can take that for us and say, oh, He will be with us always. Some of us, some children might have experienced parents leave. God doesn't. And God loves us, attaches to us, not because He has to, but God decided to attach to us. And then the second year is really about boundaries. When we say to the children, no, you cannot have that now, also means we set boundaries. Now, God did set boundaries. When God created Adam and Eve, He didn't give them the whole world. He made a garden for them. He said, that's as far as you can go and work. He gave them rules. He said, this tree, you're not supposed to eat from that tree. He didn't provide everything for free for them. He told them to work and to care for the animals. God never had the intention to remove all obstacles from His people, but He gave us the strength to overcome obstacles. And that's something that the little children are learning when they are learning that sometimes you have to overcome frustrations. Sometimes I don't get what I want. But God always said He's there for us in the obstacles, to help us overcome the obstacles in the strength that He gives us. So think about it. Think about your own attachment. There will be a few questions that will help you to consider about attachment. You can look at them and answer them for yourself. And also, if you feel that I haven't experienced that, you can bring that to your Heavenly Father, because He wants you to be attached to Him. He's there, ready and willing for you to come to Him and tell Him that you need somebody to be attached to.